Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of the anime That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime Season 1 on Netflix. Now I know this is on Crunchyroll, and I'm like, hey, I got Netflix, and this popped up, and I'm really glad I watched it because I really enjoyed it and want to see where this goes next. It's not your typical Isekai, it's almost kind of like where you're going, oh, alright, this dude gets killed in our world, gets reincarnated in the other one, but then is kind of helping out the monsters. So it does have like different kind of politics on that kind of front and why they're kind of monsters, how they kind of deal with things, and what kind of goes on with that. So we get introduced to this dude. He's like in his late 30s, virgin, office worker dude, Satoru Mikami. He's linking up with his co-worker, who's pretty much just trying to show off his girlfriend and everything, and kind of rubbing in his face a little bit. But then we see this dude kind of like blitzing through the crowd with a knife, just going like hambo jambo, and pretty much is going to be going for his co-worker and his girlfriend. And the Satoru dude just jumps in front, takes it, and is pretty much dying. But we see that some kind of like thing is listening to him, pretty much like, oh, here's these kind of skills and everything like that, this predator skill, heat resistance, all this kind of stuff. It's like, okay, what the fuck are you talking about? And then he tells his coworker, please destroy my fucking computer, just kill that fucking thing. His coworker does do that and says, I'm gonna name my kid after you, motherfucker. He's like, all right, cool. But we see that he gets reincarnated in the other world as a slime. He's like, this is kind of weird. Of course, he gets a kind of change of voice. He's at first just kind of fucking around trying to see what's kind of going on. Is eating plants just because he's fucking bored, even though there doesn't need to eat. And him trying to figure out how to deal with his body and what kind of works on with it, as we see his ability to take and pretty much eat all these kind of magic-fueled plants, learning about the basic systems as this great sage thing is talking to him as he's going through, and then finds this dragon Veldora that's been sealed in there for like 300 years, and it's probably going to take like another 100 years for it to like die. It's like, shit, fuck. It's like, all right, we'll befriend each other. We'll give each other's names, which naming has power in this world. This is kind of like the first time we see it. Veldora Tempest, Rimuru Tempest. That's, of course, where we get the whole kind of thing with Rimuru and the Tempest whole kind of bit, which becomes important because we see the effects as we go on, as we build up. I actually like that it follows kind of a video game kind of formatting kind of style of trying to figure out the world and the kind of rules and everything like that with it, that he can utilize his predator skill as he's eating other kind of things and getting all these kind of powers from them, like poison breath, utilizing water to kind of like move and shit like that, being able to speak and now see and everything like that with his magical sense. And at first Veldora is like kind of tsundere, like, me just friends with a lovely slime. He's like, please come back, please come back. He's been like in there sealed for like hundreds of years by this like hero. It's like, all right, what's kind of going on here? So he's got this predator skill, and he can analyze things from both sides. So his idea is to pretty much eat the thing around it. So he analyzes it from the outside. Veldora analyzes it from the inside. And it's like, all right, so he's got this dragon in his stomach. Let's see how that kind of works out. But of course, him disappearing causes the whole world to go, fuck, hey, power balance is off, motherfucker. Let's see how this kind of works out. So he's this is where we see him kind of getting the skills. We see adventurers going in to kind of like see what's going on in the cave, and I'm like, we don't really want to deal with this motherfucker. It's because they're kind of like the bumbling adventurers, mainly that they usually get into problems that are kind of higher than their level and pay grade, and it's just like, oh god. But we see how the things are kind of going on as this like head guild dude's like, just go and check out what's going on. But then he gets into goblins that are really in trouble. They're like, can you help protect us? And the thing is, he's not like hiding his aura and stuff like that. And it's mainly Veldora in his stomach that's kind of giving him off these vibes. But of course, he's a named slime now. And we see that naming people gives you more kind of power and kind of like evolves you. So he's getting up there in like slime levels. It's like, all right, cool, and being kind of cute little thing. So he sees that he's trying to help these goblins get their kind of defense, names them and everything like that, and then he's like passed out because it took a lot of magic, and then they've like evolved into like hobgoblins and shit. It's like, oh shit, like this old dude's like jacked as fuck, and pretty much like Master Roshi kind of style. It's like, shit, but they're like all cool on him, and this is where we start getting into a little bit of the fan servicey elements. We kind of get into that with more of the ogres, where it more focuses on the kind of boobs and stuff like that. It's like, all right, fine, because he's a virgin. It's done enough that it's not a complete and utter problem, but that's not the real kind of. It doesn't like take away. It's mainly done as the kind of gag joke kind of thing. It's like, ha, I'm under boobs, because everybody kind of like hugs his ass pretty much as we get into those kind of points. It's like, all right, cool, the boobs, all right, fine, but it doesn't really take over and thundercrack anything that's kind of going on. It's balanced enough where it's not like boobs are flying out left, right, and center, or like everybody's naked for no fucking reason. That's usually reserved for like the Ichi harem kind of stuff, where you just go full ass fucking gnarly, and that's the objective of it. This is more just like, here it is, and it's just an element that doesn't usually overplay its hand. There's only one thing that kind of gets into it, where we get into like a character's design, where it's just like, okay. I mean, they don't completely focus on it, but you're like, could you just give her other clothes, please? It's like almost of like, it's almost like you'd go. It's Millam's whole kind of thing with like the very skimpy ass bottoms that she wears, where it's just like, would you rather just? It's almost like you're walking around naked, bottomless, with extra steps at this point. And it's like, all right. Now, they don't go out of their way to fan service and completely sexualize it to a point where I'd be like, this is fucking gnarly, disgusting. Fuck that. No. That nasty. Don't do that shit. But it's just kind of like, why did you make that choice? It is, but we kind of get a little bit past it because they do give her other clothes to wear, and it's really kind of funny because Rimuru is able to like bust these people up to like bigger kind of technological advancements because of him being like an office worker contractor person. So we do get some kind of modern clothing in here as well. So we see these direwolves kind of coming at him. So Rimuru is able to pretty much make an example of the father one by using some string to kind of like hold it up and slice its fucking head off and be like, hey, don't be a dick. It's like, all right, cool. Naming the Tempest Star Wolves and getting them involved as well. Getting the son of the leader to swear allegiance to him. So we pretty much see that he needs to go to Dwargon to like help get the settlement into a kind of better kind of state. So this is where we see that they're kind of going after him because he's like a slime monster, and the dudes are like, we're gonna fucking crack your ass. It's like, fuck you, eat shit, asshole, because he's got one of his goblin guys working with him, but he just pretty much, they both gotta get arrested, and like he gets like asleep for like a couple days. Rimuru decides to like burp up some of his like awesome ass healing potions because the Great Sage is like, hey, this is some really good shit. This is like 99% awesome because of what you were able to distill in this thing. It's like the people of Dwargon, there's like these miners that needed help. It's like, hey, here's some shit. He goes out of the cell for a little bit. Like, hey, just use the fucking shit, please. And then he goes back in, and then it's like, hey, cool. Hey, let's I'll vouch for your ass. It's like, all right, what do you need? Let's see. So he gets introduced to Kaijin, and he's like, yeah, I could kind of help you out, but the thing is, I gotta like do all these kind of swords and shit. It's like, do you need this shit? Because he's got the magical, the special kind of voice. He's like, yeah. It's like, do you have one of those swords? So he essentially just eats it, copies the fucker 20 times. I'm like, yes. If only it was that easy to copy and paste that kind of shit. He's like, how about that? He's like, yeah, let's go to a titty bar. Pretty much. And then he's just like, eh. And then, of course, this minister dude is being a dick, pours some beer on Rimuru. But he's like, dude, just fuck off. And then Kaijin's like, fuck you, buddy, and just cracks him one. And the thing is, they got beef because they used to work together to try and do the best for Dwargon. However, let me see. What's his name? Vesta? Yeah, Vesta had done this thing that kind of like cracked out and screwed. It was this thing for like this mecha soldier thing, and it didn't work quite right. We see that kind of come back later in this season, actually, and he pretty much lies about what they did, and we see Kaijin and the rest pretty much banished from there. But the king knows what's kind of going on. It's like, the king even offered Kaijin to, like, work for his ass again, and it's like, you sir? It's like, now he promised Rimuru because of all the help that Rimuru was able to do of just copying those things because he was given an impossible task by Vesta. He's like, why are you in here in this titty bar? When you should be working. It's like, I finished my work, motherfucker. Ha ha ha. Hee hee. It's like, I love that. It's like, I gave you something impossible to do. I did it in less time than you thought, and I'm just. Well, I'm gonna shit on your friend. Well, buddy, welcome to the Fight Club. Let's see, and it's an elf bar, so that way we get a little bit more introduction to like the dwarven society, elves in at least this case, but not that much. It's just elves in a titty bar. It's more, and it's not even like a brothel. It's more like a hostess place / Hooters. Hooters, I would kind of pretty much explain a little bit, almost like the Americanized kind of like hostess kind of club thing. Let's see. We've also got that, oh god, Geisel sends like a ninja to pretty much follow him because of his connections with Veldora. Let's see. The Guildmaster gets the update of like, we had to deal with so much shit. Can we please just... Alright, you can take 3 days. 3 days? We almost died! Fine, fuck. But we get that Shizu, this one hero, is kind of popping up. Let me see. We also see Elfish. What? This Smash Girl, Shizu, asked to join them, and we see that she's got real interesting kind of fire powers, but things are kind of going gnarly with her body. But Rimuru kind of pops up to help them, and we see that Shizu is a summoned person from our world, from Japan, in like during the war, and that she almost got killed. It's like, oh shit! Demon King Leon Cromwell summoned her and put the demons. Was it demon or is it spirit? Fire spirit Ifrit, because there is a difference. There are demons. Mill 'em. Shizu's definitely interesting, and I hope we get more on her character, even though one of the important aspects is her dying in this season. But we see that like the spirit kind of goes out of control. Rimuru is able to kind of fight it effectively enough, even though he's got to figure out and eat the ice from like the spell to kind of analyze it, to utilize it, and pretty much eat Ifrit and put him in his stomach. And Veldora's like, hey bitch, welcome to the fucking party. It's like, shit. So of course that amps him up and gives him some of his stuff before Shizu explains everything going on with Leon. That people in this world have tried to summon heroes, and that in some cases they do summon children. It takes a whole lot of stuff to go. It's like, this isn't a good system. And the thing is, this comes in back later in the season as like children have been summoned and their bodies cannot handle the magic and everything, and they expire and die earlier. Shizu's a little bit different because she had this spirit, and that of course gets into Rimuru's mind of like, all right, I gotta have to deal with something like that, because she's like decades old. I mean, she was like from like World War II. Pretty much almost died in like a bombing. And the thing is, he said he was a good slime slurp, and she's like, wait a minute. And then it's like, how do you know that? Because there was also someone else that was summoned from their world that lived long enough. Because some accidentally pass over and are reincarnated, like Rimuru, and some are summoned. I think the other one just kind of like fucking popped up, because he is not having the same kind of problems as the children. And the thing is, he is the one that pretty much gave her the lowdown on Dragon Quest. I'm like, the dude's a fucking slime. Dragon Quest has so much stuff on the slime. Thank you for doing that. And it's really kind of funny because he links up with him later when he's like going to look for the children, and just pretty much is like laying the funniest kind of interactions. Like, can you give me an update on the world? Final Fantasy? We're up to 19. It's like, we're close, but you lying. And then that he's able to eat paper and poop out manga for these motherfuckers. It's just great. I'm like, that's cool. I like it. That's kind of cute. So we got that. That Shizu was pretty much helped by a hero, that her body is pretty much breaking down, giving her that she was like pretty much guarding Leon dude's castle. Leon Cromwell. Leon Cromwell. And then she just pops up and like, why the fuck are you doing this? You can do a lot of better stuff. And she pretty much becomes a hero and starts doing a lot of stuff. And she doesn't want her body to remain in this world and asks Rimuru to eat her. And she then moves on and gets reunited with her mother that she lost when she pretty much was summoned into the world and the bombing and everything was going on. This is, of course, where you see the most aspect of Rimuru having pretty much an androgynous kind of form of Shizu's body. He can, of course, change it into a hyper-masculine one or a feminine one. Well, not hyper-masculine, but a more masculine one, and then like one that's more feminine. However, he doesn't really want to do that because he feels it's disrespectful to Shizu, which is interesting. It's like, okay, so then the thing is when you're going, oh, this is a very interesting character because he can be male, he can be female, and then it's all down to what Rimuru wants. It's like, cool, that's awesome. Do all this shit with your body. That's all right. So we get that kind of work, and people are saying farewell. They kind of wish they would have been able to say more farewell to her, but Rimuru turns into the different form that they can pretty much kind of do that. He gives weapons and armor to the people, thanking them, be like, yeah, you guys are cool, before we see that, like, these ogres pop up, and they're thinking, because we see in the background that this one dude is pretty much doing an orc army and an orc lord thing going on. It's like, okay, as they have pretty much sent themselves against and destroyed this ogre village, and they pop up thinking that Rimuru is the one that's pretty much leading that and doing all that kind of stuff. I'm like, no. He does have a little bit of a harder time, even though he's got, like, some amped up and nice skills. I do like that he doesn't just, like, auto-stomp shit on the get-go. It's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? He's got to, like, also then protect his hobgoblin people, and he starts learning what's kind of going on. I was like, hey, guys, it's not us. Let's kind of help you here. And, of course, we see this dude, like, a village of, like, 300 that is down to like 6. Yeah, Gelmund recruiting the orc Geld, trying to get him into like the Great Orc Disaster. And it was the Ogre Princess that was able to pretty much convince the rest of them on that. Let's see, Masked Majin, of course, and of course he proposes that they join us as subordinates. Like, all right, fine, temporary alliance, let's do this kind of shit. But of course, he names them, and then they go into a higher form of ogre, Kirin, I believe. And seeing how that kind of works out, they become more human in appearance. We see it kind of similar to what happened with the hobgoblins. Benimaru as the prince dude. Let's see, Shuna as the princess. Shion as pretty much his secretary and shit. Hakuro as the swordsman that's pretty awesome, old dude. Sue, who is like a fucking awesome ninja dude, doing his own kind of shadow clone jutsu shit, and Kurobe as their kind of blacksmith kind of person. Kaijins, yeah. So we see that the chieftain of the lizardmen is like, okay, those orcs are coming, we kind of need help, and he's got a son, Gabiru, that of course was named by Gelmund. He's going off, his subordinates are pretty much trying to emphasize him, like, you should be the chief. You should be the chief. Only kind of issue here is I don't know what Gelman's play was kind of with this dude. Otherwise, just to pretty much make it to feed the orc army, because we've got Geld pretty much going into an amped up kind of orc lord form, which he's able to then do kind of almost a battle meditation, frenzy kind of thing, making all the orcs hungry and just like going into battle. And the thing is, you don't want to fight this army because we see that the Kaijin went back to their village and there were no corpses. Ogre or orc, and they eat the dead and absorb their power. We see this pretty much being an issue because Rimuru sends Sue to pretty much be like, hey, we want to work with you lizardmen people. It's like, alright, cool, so just stay in here, we're gonna work this shit out. Gabiru's like, fuck that noise, pretty much does a coup against his father, locks him up, and goes out and starts fighting him, but we see that the orcs then start eating the dead lizardmen and getting scales and stuff like that. It's like, oh shit, they're moving faster in the water. What the fuck's kind of going on? It's like, oh. And the thing is, Gabiru is stupid, not malicious. He is trying to do the best for his people. However, he doesn't know what's going on with these things. He's like, fucking shit. Let's see. And Gabiru, of course, also had popped up and tried to pretty much enlist the goblins because he's been going around and doing that. But they get like the least little goblin dude who just cracks his ass out. It's like, we'll be back! Or not. They're just like, fuck you people. It's like, alright, whatever. And then, of course, that's when Gabiru does this whole kind of coup, and Rimuru and the rest are like, oh, we gotta deal with this fucking shit. Because they had been asked by the Dryad Trini to help out and deal with this, and pretty much everybody's like, yeah, Rimuru would do it. It's like, fuck, just don't just put me into shit. Fine, yeah, we'll do it. Alright. Because he's trying to figure this out and actually weigh the options of how to best help his people and help the people around as well, because he doesn't want to put them in an undue position. And at this point, we're getting like hot springs and shit, roads and all that. It's really kind of cool. See, we already did that. Rimuru's group, of course, comes in, and it pretty much just delves down to Gelman just berating the Orc Lord, and then the Orc Lord eats him and pretty much goes into Demon Lord status as the Great Disaster, and Rimuru then has to utilize mainly a lot of his abilities to kind of... Yeah, we did that. He's trying to use fire, but that doesn't work out because he's got fire resistance. And they pretty much do a consumption kind of thing to see who can devour the other first. He's able to get through Geld, and we see that Geld was not a bad person. Him and his orc brethren were starving. He would literally chop off his own arm, which would then regrow to feed the children, and he was trying to find a way to feed his people. But of course, he was utilized by Gelmund to do whatever means they were doing, as we see other kind of demon lords attempting to do some kind of thing here. We don't know exactly what their kind of objectives are, but Rimuru is like, shit. So he is able to work out a thing with the lizardmen and the orcs and the rest of the parties involved, the ogres, the kaijin, staying on with him. The orcs being brought into place for labor, but being paid with, like, yeah, you can eat and everything like that, you're fine. And the thing is, he understood that they were being utilized against their will for this. And yes, it did horrible things, but it was nice to kind of see them being like, yeah, this is a kind of hard thing, even though you'd probably see people being like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck your shit up with the lizardmen or whatnot. But he starts naming them and everything, and certain ones of them go into like the ninja team and look human as well. Some being more kind of draconian, like dragon-like in appearance, but other ones just being like more human and being able to like pop their like shit out at will. It's like, all right, cool. So we've got the Jura Tempest Federation formed and recognized as an official nation. Let's see. Gazel, of course, coming in to see how Rimuru is fighting him a little bit, kind of seeing that Rimuru is taking lessons from Hazuro. Let me see. Hakuro, yeah, Hakuro. And like working with the dryads and everything like that. It's working pretty well. And he also brings Vesta to like work with them. He helps out and is actually able to get to like 98% efficacy because well, no, he's able to get to the 99% efficacy that Rimuru is able to do with his potions. And that's a big thing because it usually is topped out at like 98%, and we see that it's kind of diluted. We're getting into different kind of economics because Rimuru is trying to do different kind of alliances and trying to make sure that his group that is now growing bigger and bigger throughout this kind of alliance and nation with the fucking capital being named after him. It's like, shit, fine, whatever, fine, fuck it. With their hot springs and their big ass houses and shit. It's like, all right, he's trying to figure out what to like export and everything like that because they need food, they need clothes, they need housing, they need roads, they need to add stuff to trade with people. Of course, we've got Kaijin in there doing his metalworking with his other kind of brother assistants kind of going on as well. The potion thing's a pretty interesting thing. It's like, yeah, we gotta make sure that we don't oversaturate the market with these uber powerful ones, so we'll see what kind of goes on with that. Let's see. Milim, of course, is like, I kind of want to see what's up with this slime thing, and then comes in and just starts cracking wholesale ass. But not in a kind of completely bad way. Dragon newts, yeah. And the funny thing is, Rimmer's like, all right, how do I deal with this? And he deals with it by like popping honey in her mouth and be like, you want snacks and shit? She's like, all right, cool. And it's just like doing whatever she kind of wants. It's like, all right. She very much goes on the more kind of tsundere kind of route of like, I'm gonna do what I want. I'm gonna do what I want. It's like, then you won't get fucking lunch. And she's like, I want lunch. I like food. I like this food and everything. Um, yeah. Only thing with it is the kind of design where I'm just like, and it's not even like, it's just more like, but why? It almost would be like if you got pants that are so loose that like the slightest fart would like blow them off. It's like, then why wear them? Like it's that's about it. Otherwise, most of her character being a carefree kind of like demon lord, just like fucking around and then just pretty much wanting to be friends with Rimuru. I got no problem with that. And of course, everybody's like, what do we do with this? Since them being together as a kind of friendship things, besties for esties, kind of shit, would throw off the balance of power with like demon lords that would be doing kind of shit. And it's like, oh god. We did that. There was like a border survey corps, and they pretty much linked up with the guild people, pretty much going to check out Rimuru's place, this time with the guild master to suss out what things are kind of going on. And we see Gapta, the kind of hobgoblin dude, take out this giant spider thing, and this dude was being pretty much rude to everyone involved, calling Shion like ogre tits, and it's like, let's see how that works out, as she just smacks the fucking shit out of his head and is like, yeah, that's being awfully fucking rude, asshole. And Rimuru then's like, listen, we want you to take credit for the Orc Lord thing, because it would probably cause beef with everybody else around, being like, what the fuck is this motherfucker doing, being able to take out Orc Lords and shit? It's like, alright, we'll see how this is kind of going. We also see that Phobio, like the Beastkeeper of the Demon Lord Carrion, comes to Tempest, who wants to take it over, but of course Millam's like, fuck that noise. Because this dude pretty much, like, is causing shit with Rimuru's people. And then Millam's like, fuck you, and cracks his ass. And at first, Rimuru's like, what are you doing? It's like, oh shit, old hobgoblin dude. And then it's like, I'm okay. And it's like half of his face is melted off, two-face down. It's like, here's a potion for you. You are not. And going on. And then this tells them to like, fuck off. And the dude's like, she beat me. Fuck that shit. It's like, dude, stop that. Chartabus is this kind of like world-class destroying thing, pretty much on par with like Demon Lord stuff. So he is pretty much tricked by these like clown assholes who are working with this other demon dude to reviving it and pretty much going after Rimuru and everything. The thing is, they're trying to not use Millam, which is good because it's a trump card that you want to pull out when you need to pull it out. And the thing is, it's just possessing this body dude's like, I want to take out Millam. It's like, you did this for that? You fucking idiot. So Millam gets in the battle, pretty much cracks his ass out, and she's able to utilize her power effectively to not kill his ass. So they get everything done. They get, like, they're feasting, like, almost after every time they do have a feast. Kind of One Piece style, which is kind of great. As they're eating these giant 13 megalodons that were from, like, Chartabus is able to, resurrect it from these, like, dead dragon corpses. It's like, oh, shit. He also got the Dwargon Empire to help him out with, like, 100 Pegasus Knights. The Modern Harlequin Alliance. It's like, alright, what the fuck's kind of going on with that? Millam, of course, is like, yeah, I gotta go do my own shit. It's like, alright, fine. And this is where Rimuru has, like, the dream of Shizu regretting not being able to help her students. And it's like, alright, everything's kind of okay here. So he decides to go on Ranga to the Kingdom of Ingracia. That's where he kind of links up with the dude, sees the different kind of children. The children are summons meant to be weapons for the summoner. They have so much energy, yeah, They've got about probably like 5 years left. And he's been in this world for like 2 years. Let's see. And of course, the children are like, fuck you, man. It's like, No. And of course, they're not really giving him respect, but Wrong is sitting in the background, like, "Ee," and some of them are like an eclectic kind of mix. So it's not just all Japanese kids. Let's see. Do they give me? We've got Kenya using fire magic, Chloe using water magic, Gale with magic bullets, Rota uses body enhancements, and Alex uses puppetry to control toys to attack him. And he's like, listen, try and kick my ass. We'll see how that kind of goes. And they are able to use magic, interestingly enough. Like, it's not just because most of the we haven't really seen we've only seen a couple kind of doing magic on certain kind of levels here. So it falls into they know how to use magic, but they're not as adept into controlling it because they haven't really been taught for that. So he's like, all right, I don't know why Shizu did worked out, but I'm thinking it's probably linked up with the whole kind of spirit aspect. So he pretty much kind of links up with them and it's like, listen, let's kind of do that. But he's got to Trini directing him to the dwelling of spirits, but the Queen of Spirits, the Dryads once served, is dead. So like, we don't know who it is anymore, and we don't know where the entrance is. So he's just like pondering this as like the Sky Dragon comes to the city that he's in, which we see has different kind of magical and that are similar kind of the tech, like sliding glass doors and glass and stuff like that. It's like, okay, so there's stuff in this world. We'll see how this works. And he's like, all right, this Sky Dragon thing, it's almost trying to kill like this merchant kind of dude. And remember, is like, fuck this. He kind of changes his appearance a little bit, kills and eats the fucking thing. And then the merchant dude's like, hey, thanks a lot for this. And it's like, hey, you kind of want to trade and do shit with my nation state kind of thing? It's like, you saved my life, sure, yeah, and then we see that one of the servants that he's got is talking about like the Great Spirit and everything like that. And like, oh, okay, you know about that shit? It's like, yeah, pretty much links them to it. They kind of go through this kind of labyrinth thing, and Rimmer's got to kind of fight this golem, and he's like, all right, I got this shit, and then pretty much destroys it. The person's like, why'd you do that? It's like, aren't you gonna kill us? It's like, no, I just wanted to scare you and then swoop in and be like the hero. It's like, all right. Let's see. Remarus, one of the 10 demon lords. But she's like a small kind of fairy, so nobody kind of really like believes her. That Leon, who summoned Shizu, used to be a hero before he fell from grace and became a demon lord. So we're getting kind of things throughout this. She was the old queen, but then she fell and became a demon lord. It's like, all right, there's like 10 of these. A hero can fall and become a demon lord. Ooh, we're getting interesting kind of tidbits and aspects here. It's like, all right, but she's not an asshole. It's like, you eating people? What is a demon lord here? So we need a little bit more information on that, and I'm excited to kind of learn about that. Let's see. And Rimmer is like, listen, I'll make a new golem for you. How about that shit? I know people and shit. All right. He's like, all right, we'll take you to like superior spirits. So we see that their whole thing is like they'll have the kids there, see if the spirits are interested in them, and if they're not, they'll just take a whole lot of other ones. Rimuru will eat their motherfucking asses and then spit out a superior spirit form. This pretty much goes along the lines for Gale, Alice, and Rota. Kenya is able to summon it and has a spirit of light, and an unknown spirit-like being appears. Veldora acting to its present, despite Ramirez's attempts to stop it, because she feels it's dangerous and that possesses Chloe, and Chloe has feelings for Rimuru. And it's like, all right, but I'm like an old motherfucker and I'm a slime and shit. I mean, that doesn't stop him with like other kind of stuff. But it's like, listen, I'm your teacher and shit. He's not acting creepy or shitty like that. It's like but he doesn't shit on her about it either, which is nice. He handles it like an adult would for it. It's like, all right, we'll keep an eye on your guys' asses. And we see that their energy's calm, so they're not going to die in a few years. So it's like, that's cool. We see her getting her new golem. And saying that the nations that abandon them because they're like, oh, they're kids, they're going to die. So fuck this shit. It's like, fuck you. Fuck you, you nations. So we're seeing demon lords. We're seeing nations being like assholes. We'll see how this kind of works out. Yuki is the dude that's pretty much over the school and everything. giving Shizu's mask to Chloe, because it's a magical kind of suppressing one, but evidently it does shit with time. And like a woman that is similar to the woman that kind of looks like was the hero that kind of helped Shizu out, kind of looking in on him as well as this like other demon being like, hey, you got summoned or something before me. It's like, what the fuck's kind of going on with you? So we get into the last episode, which is pretty much just a kind of Shizu story, where these people summon this demon that we had seen previously. It's like, what the fuck's kind of going on here? It's like black. Like, all right, fine, what's going on? And we see that Shizu is brought into this whole kind of thing of like, we need you guys to take out this demon thing. It's like, all right, and he pops up like, yeah, and we see that it's not exactly what we think it is. Now, granted, this place is ruled by a demon that is an upper kind of echelon linked to red, but this black one is like head honcho fucking black. It's like, fuck you, buddy. We see that he has a nice, pretty fight with Shizu, and she's able to take one of his arms off, and I'm like, you're not bad, badoosh, and then kind of just fucks off. Before she's pretty much like, yeah, you defeated the demon. And then in the king and the minister and everybody were like puppets of the same demon she was hired to actually stop, who had taken the persona of Orthos, the hero who'd previously defeated him, thus gaining the name Orthos and becoming an archdemon. It's like, that's not good. So they're going to like sacrifice adventures and everything. But the Silver Wings were the ones that pretty much brought forth the demon to avenge themselves for what's kind of going on. It's like, ooh, that's not good. And he just fucking kills that motherfucker like, yeah, fuck you, and all the other ones as well. And he keeps his promises. Rouge. And, like, destroys the motherfucker's soul. And then they just have to keep their story straight and then just, like, pop off. And we see that Kuro observing Rimuru through a scrying glass and declares the next time Rimuru will lead him to the truth of this world. It's like, all right. So I overall enjoyed this one and definitely want to watch more of it. It's got some nice ebbs and flows, some nice calmer kind of episodes to kind of deal with what we have done, and then amping ourselves up and learning about new things and kind of having nice challenges for Rimuru. It's not that he's completely overpowered from the get-go. Yeah, he does have, like, OP kind of powers and shit, but that doesn't mean he auto-wins. And just because he's eaten, like, Veldora, Ifrit, and like an Orc Lord doesn't mean that he knows exactly how and when to use and deploy his powers and how he can like protect the people around him. Because even though he has a harder time being killed, that doesn't mean that people around him can't get auto-nuked out of nowhere either. So he still kind of has the kind of vulnerabilities that he needs, with also the kind of Superman vulnerabilities of trying to protect people as much as possible. And I like him doing the nation building kind of thing and being like, I'm not trying to do this, but I'll do it because people ask me to and I can do this shit. So I like seeing how he deals with people and not completely and utterly being a completely unrepentant perv and just getting creepy and just nutty on different kind of stuff. But he's more like, yeah, I'm sitting under people's boobs. And it's only done. It's that kind of balancing act where it's funny a little bit, but it doesn't overtake the seriousness of what's kind of going on. And especially we can get into serious mode of helping people out, helping Shizu, continuing Shizu's legacy of helping the kids and everything like that, and doing his best to find the solution to make sure that they live for a longer time. So I really am interested to learn more about what the demons are, these nations, and their whole kind of summoning things for heroes and weapons for summoners, what the objectives of certain demons and demon lords are, because Rimuru said that he was going to take out Leon. So we'll have to see if what Leon's objective was with utilizing Shizu and summoning Shizu and what's kind of going on there, because he was disappointed in her before he fucking just like, hey, Ifrit, going to the little kid. It's like, all right, see how that works. So there's a lot of cool stuff, and it was a nice kind of like, even though there's like battles and everything, it was a kind of chill anime for me, and I really would recommend it. It's got interesting world and lore building. It's more on the fantasy side, so if you're more into the kind of the sci-fi aspect, I think that would potentially kind of pop off more in later seasons, because we're building up to that kind of stuff of like technology and stuff like that. So we'll see how that kind of fuses together if it does. I do like his back and forth between the Great Sage and everything. He's like, don't do that kind of shit. And also, one of the brothers that came out with the dwarves doesn't say anything. It's like, speak, damn you! It's just, those funny little bits work out well. It has a good balance to it where the comedy doesn't overtake the seriousness, and the seriousness doesn't make it a slog of like, God, can you not do that and not being an edgelord asshole? So I would definitely recommend it. I hope more seasons get on Netflix at certain kind of points, but I would also be open to looking at it at Crunchyroll if I eventually get to that kind of point, because I'm like, I would like to watch more One Piece at certain points. I mean, the thing is, you have to go in certain kinds of spurts with One Piece, otherwise you're gonna be like, I've fallen down a hole and I cannot get out right now. But yeah, this was good and I can see why people like it so much. I just wish that the title wasn't so fucking long. Like, you have, like, I get why they do it, to differentiate certain kind of stuff, but at a certain point, you gotta look at someone and be like, are you trying to be an asshole? Is your objective just to make this hard as shit to fucking say? So, those are my opinions on the anime. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.